Live from the virtual streets of the Windy City, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome back for another night of BiS Formula 1600 Championship Series racing on Podium. We're happy to have you with us from the virtual Chicago street course as we get set for our second week of points racing on this F1600 campaign, and we welcome you into the broadcast booth with our producer DJ Lion downstairs and alongside Daniel Zippy Salmon. My name is Evan Pasoko, and Zippy, we're getting ready for another week out, different though from what we were talking about a week ago. Just last time out at Brands Hatch, we were overseas. We were talking about a Formula Festival, no points on the line. Well, we are back stateside this afternoon and back points racing for the only race on a true street circuit all season long.
Oh, it's definitely going to be an absolutely fantastic event. We know that these guys use every single inch of the track, Evan, and I've got a feeling we're going to see 2 wide for sure, 3 wide. I'm wondering if we're even going to see 4. We are going to see these streets use every single lane, but they're not going to be following the flow of like the typical road markings. They are going to be making their own racing line and certainly looking for every opportunity that they possibly can.
One thing we saw 2 weeks ago in Brands Hatch was these drivers were going off and into the grass. That margin for error does not exist here on the streets of Chicago. We talk about the event format for tonight. It's same as always. We will have 3 15-minute races. The grid for race number 2 set based on the finishing order from race number 1. The only time that changes up is when we go racing for that third and final race of the afternoon, at which those top 10 will get in invert. These are all sprint races. There are no required pit stops, fixed setups, and standing starts. There is a spare car available. 12 penalty points will get you a penalty. 17 will get you disqualified. But I think the biggest story, you got to learn the corners, you got to learn the ups and downs, and that's certainly all true. But the biggest thing overall is, again, that margin for error at a racetrack like this, where it is just lined with K-rail left side, right side, is non-existent.
Oh, absolutely. Certainly, these guys, they know the limits of the car pretty good, but we often see it here at the podium booth where we'll see these guys have, you'll see a line of 3 wheels, and that's not like they've modified the car. There's literally a wheel in between another wheel. In some cases, like netcode can interfere, but these guys using absolutely every inch of the surface that's available.
The points stand just as they did from Road Atlanta, and it was the final of those feature race winners in John Benelad, who leads the championship standings, and a tie right now is Stuart Ross, who won the second race. Econombev did not get a race win in the opening week of competition, but was consistent across all 3 features and is third in the standings. And then the first feature race win went to Michael Broomhead. He will be 4th. So 3 of your top 4 drivers race winners from week 1, but Econombev making the point that you don't just have to win the races to be up and competitive. A consistent night was good enough, but it is a decent enough gap, right? A 13-point advantage that race winners Benelad and Ross have over 3rd, 4th on back. So race wins can be helpful, and we'll see as we work deeper into the season if some of these drivers can build some consistency and how those fast names from Road Atlanta, even what we saw with the Formula Festival last time out at a Brands Hatch, can those drivers also be fast on a racetrack like this that's very different?
Yeah, for sure, Evan. I find as well, like, obviously drivers have tracks where they're stronger and stuff like that, but a street circuit, it kind of separates the boys from the men, and it's certainly, you've really got to get into your limits. But you know what? As drivers, we all have room for improvement, and I'm very pleased to announce that we have another sponsor here at the BiS F1600 series, and that is MotorRacingChecklist.com. Now, this is great if you're an experienced driver, if you're a little bit less experienced, it kind of fits everybody, and it's actually made by a competitor in our Radical, the BiS Radical series, Suelio Almeida. You guys probably seen him. He's on YouTube, and we're going to have Mike Broomhead in a bit later to talk a bit more about that as well.
Happy to have them on board and powering our coverage tonight of this BiS Formula 1600 Championship Series. And of course, as always, proud partners with the folks at Turn 1 Sim Racing, where champions are born. Both of those are our presenting sponsors for tonight's coverage. We appreciate them being part of the action, and you can too by scanning that QR code on your screen now. There are still active opportunities to join the BiS leagues, participate here with us on Wednesday evenings. So to get that journey started, scan the QR code on screen, join the series Discord, and you can find out more information of the mini racing opportunities here on Wednesday nights. Qualifying continues to roll on. This 20-minute session has just over 2 minutes left on the clock, and we jump on board with the number 1, Keenan Harris. And these onboard perspectives all night are going to be what gives you the best sense of how tight the confines of the streets of Chicago are as he races back to what is the front stretch part of the racetrack down South Columbus Drive.
Keenan Harris, he's actually our champion from the last BiS F1600 as well, so I'm expecting this guy to be on the podium. But again, this is Chicago street circuit, you know. It is a case of, you know, how much do you want to risk it? As you can see, really sliding the car there. Grazing the wall.
Worth noting, grazing the fence in qualifying, not going to be advantageous for you. An incident point will disallow your qualifying laps to be counted towards time. There was a 13-lap limit set on how many actual timed laps you could put down in this 20-minute session. I think if you ran nonstop, you'd be hard-pressed or right up against that number anyways. So most drivers, as you see the 27, Clovis Girard pull down pit road, go out there for a hot lap, come back in, try it again, and reset. And you can see kind of a bit of a pack forming as that's the 40 Zach Buchanan, who heads off and into the first half of the racetrack, which is going to take him down Balbo Drive and down to South Lake Shore, right up against some of the skyscrapers of downtown. Right in front of him is Jacob Ekstrom, maybe a little bit in the way there, and might affect the lap times of the 40 cars. He's got to go wide to avoid through that sweeping turn 8 through 10 complex of East Congress Plaza Drive.
I can just see as well. Is that James Carter I'm seeing that? Yeah, James Carter. I knew it would be. It looks like he has been partaking. I believe that's Swelio's book. Motor Racing book. I'm pretty sure it is. It looks the same logo and everything. So I gotta say, James, top man, getting right off board there with the sponsor. Power to you, sir. Like, I'm actually very impressed with that. I didn't know that was going to happen, but excellent publicity there. As you can see, this is a good reason to join this, become part of the sponsorship committee here at BiS F1600 as qualifying comes to an end. And I'm just going to say very quickly as well, such a tight qualifying, like the top 9-10 places, there's barely anything in it. I'm looking like maybe a 1.3 seconds, if that.
Yeah, the margins are tight, but qualifying has drawn to a close. So let's go trackside and take a look at your starting grid on the streets of Chicago. And front row, we'll see the 67 of Stuart Ross with a 131.957 lead us to the green. Alongside it, Connor Janateus will start from second. Row number 2, we'll see Zach Buchanan to the inside, and your championship leader, John Beneled, on the outside in the number 4th position. Row number 3, Clovis Girard will start from 5th. It'll be Keenan Harris alongside in the number 6 spot. And back on row 4, it is Mika Dorn in 7th position and Mark Boyd in 8th. And rounding out through row 5, it is Cedric O'Hyan and Michael Broomhead in 9th and 10th.
As we take a look at 11th, we've got Assad Nakano Bev alongside Robert Kobe of Howler Racing as well. Look at P13, Bill Pritchard from CRL and Richard Swindles next to him. P14, James Doherty in P15 with Joseph Yang, one of our BOS admins there. James Carter, as you saw just a moment ago, with Sam alongside him. And Matthew Mailman and Jacob Exton on row 10.
And the final couple of cars, row 11, we'll see Phil Amaro and Eugene Cartini start 21st and 22nd. No lap time for Dante Quisp, as we'll see if we get a lap time from the 15 or not. The only car not to take a time in qualifying, not currently being shown on the grid for the start of this race. These standing starts, always interesting, even much more so when they are confined on a tight front stretch like this. Feature race number 1 is underway, and it's a good jump for Stuart Ross. He'll be clear in the race to turn 1, but the battle's on for P2 on back, and it's tight through turn 1.
Oh, they're already going 2-3 wide. They've got to remember that the tyres are cold. Even though this isn't the most powerful car, they do take a few laps to get better heat in, as I see somebody sneaking a little bit of a move back there as well. Certainly, if it's me starting out, you got to get comfortable in the car. You've just done qualifying, you've just done hot laps. You need to get into your own little groove and just get the tyres up to temperature, and then start to make attacks up the field.
Impressed that this many cars have made it through the first couple of sets of corners. Knock on wood, Buchanan was kicking the rear end out. Could it be easy to see that bright yellow car all night long? And watching on is Mika Dorn looking up the road. Keenan Harris, the next car, but look at the 2 wide, even further up the road, even 3 wide maybe, as Janateus was in the middle, and Buchanan gets into the outside wall. That time on the exit of the corner, it's going to scrub a lot of speed off of the 40 car through turn number 11, and now more contact there. And with these open wheel cars, you're not going to get away with that often.
Oh, definitely not. But at the minute, these guys are respecting the track limits pretty good. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can't really go past them too well. It's more of a, the full Gandalf, you shall not pass. But these guys, clean racing so far. But again, the gloves have come off really quickly. You can see Buchanan, Bembley, Janateus, they're going for it. But this is working out great for Stuart Ross right now. He has pulled away a 2-second gap already.
Big crest as they come over East Jackson Drive, the right-hander, turn number 12, and then back to the front straightaway down South Columbus Drive. Lap number 1 in the books, and the 67 machine of Stuart Ross gained the early advantage and is pulled to a 2.3 second gap. There's a touch, though, to the left-hand wall for your race leader as he came through turn 2. So opportunities to make mistakes aplenty. There's a good look on board with his in-sim camera, bottom right of your screen. Man, that's a lot of wheel and more contact to the outside wall. All of this from your race leader.
And I'm looking now. I think he's got a little bit of damage. It's messed his alignment slightly, as we've just seen just now. Our excellent director there. You could see just the steering wheel, and he had, I'd say, maybe 10-15 degrees off to the right. Like a little bit of steering. So, he's going to be carrying that damage for the rest of the race. But the good thing is, come race 2, he'll be able to reset and get a fresh car.
So we'll see if that contact affects him at all. We jump back to the one of Keenan Harris, who rides in the number 5 spot right now, had started in 6th. This was kind of the most active part of the racetrack on the start, was that 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th group. They have been able to spread out just a little bit, but let's wind it back and take a look at what happened not that long ago with the 26 car. This is going down the front stretch to start your lap for Phil Amaro, and oh yeah, big issues up the road, and then just kind of a late victim in all of that as there were 2 cars blocking the racetrack, kind of hung up on each other there. 26 had to put it in reverse and try again. Well, they tried to get the left rear and their right front dislodged. That cost all 3 of those cars a ton of time.
I was just looking at the standings as well, thinking, okay, something must have happened, but oh,
and more contact there as they come up the crest. That was on the exit of turn number 11. Robert Covey's into the outside wall. So I think that's a separate incident as well from what we just saw. So there are race cars all over the place. As one more car off into the tire barrier there. That's the exit of turn number 12, last corner of the lap. I know it's nice and sunny here in Sim, but these cars feel like they're driving on ice, like I'm sure it is like in downtown Chicago this time of year, with that breeze coming in off of the lake and some cold temps. And here's a second look at the incident I caught with the 7-2. This one unassisted, just lost the back end. We saw that happen a lot last week.
Ooh. Oh, that was unfortunate.
Yeah. Blind corner. You just can't see what is around that bend when you have these 90-degree corners.
I will say there as well, in defense of Kobe, there wasn't really anything he could do at that point. He moved a bit, realized, okay, I can't go anywhere, but at that point anyway, even if he hadn't moved, he was pooched. He's a seasoned racer. I think it's just an unfortunate incident there. I'm certainly I certainly wouldn't be looking into it, but it looks like Stuart Ross, he's under attack. That 2-second lead has disappeared as Connor Janateus is right on the tail of him. Absolutely just chasing down the battle of the two white cars here. Both Janateus himself being a legit real-life F1600 driver against one of our sim racing greats here in the F1600, Stuart Ross.
And remember, Stuart Ross had that 2.6-second advantage, made significant contact with the outside wall. Is it affecting the 67? Janateus was running back in third, made the pass on the 08 car to get to P2, and now he's going to be getting first crack at the race lead. Looking to the inside as Stuart Ross is under fire from Connor Janateus. Back down Columbus Drive, left-hand turn number 6. They'll go side by side through that corner, hold it even. Now Beneled watches on from third with nowhere to go. Inside advantage to Janateus, but Ross will not back down and makes it stick on the outside.
I'm wondering if that damage he picked up earlier where it set his alignment out, I wonder if that's how Janateus has been able to catch him. And then not only that, Benvelid as well, because he's just, at the minute, he's flying back through the field, and I don't think it's driver talent. I think he's caused some damage. Oh no!
From the race lead, Stuart Ross has gone around after they both overcooked the cars. Coming into turn number 11, Janateus lost it first, Ross spun second, and just like that, John Benelid has gone to the race lead. Let's take a second look.
Oh, great news for Lima Racing, but I think what happened is he just got a little bit too much weight on the nose. The back end spun round. Ross has nowhere to go, and Benvelid, he's just basically took the cookies and ran. Absolutely outstanding position for Lima Racing right now. His teammates Cedric O'Hien and Sam as well, they're not having quite as much luck, but certainly Benvelid himself, he's doing very well. This is just the result that he needs.
Here's another look at it again, and this will be from the perspective of the car in third spot. You'll see the spin up the road and trap there, as you mentioned, nowhere for the race leader at the time, Stuart Ross, to avoid after he had just gotten passed by Connor Janateus. And as we mentioned, now it's the 08 car, John Beneled to the race lead. Not with a big advantage, though, because hot on his heels, Zach Buchanan, the bright yellow car, second place on track right behind them. Michael Broomhead, top 5 in the championship, looking for another feature race win on the season. It is 3 cars separated by less than 1 second.
I think we're going to be in for an absolutely fantastic battle for these last 7 minutes. Now, Broomhead, he's keen, he's definitely motivated, but Buchanan, I'd say he's probably, I think he's going to be the most aggressive out of the 3. But it's going to be an absolutely excellent battle, but the question is, are these guys going to run away with it? At the minute, they got the Karnenbev 9 seconds back. I think that's going to give them enough room that these guys can play and, certainly challenge each other without having to worry about losing a potential podium spot.
Karnenbev just made a pass on Janateus. They swapped 4th to 5th, but you're right, that's about 7 seconds off of the race leaders. They are not a factor as Michael Broomhead looks up the road and sees a race win within striking distance. But as the clock ticks down towards 6 minutes to go in this first of 3 15-minute timed features, is that enough time for Broomhead to make the move? They've got wide open streets to fight it out amongst the 3 of them. A little bit of drafting going to come into play on these long straights. Broomhead gets a run, looks to the inside in 6, does not decide to make the move, stays in line, and Buchanan in the middle going to have to continue to fight on. Meanwhile, back in 15th for Micah Dorn. You talk about some of the drivers who have gained spots. It has not been a good go for the 64. Started 7th down to 15th, trying to pick up some spots. Look out! No! 1 car out of the pits. It was Matthew Mielman and came right in front of that 2-car battle.
Definitely unfortunate. Oh, another one. Who was that just had collided? Let me have a look.
It's a dangerous pit exit. There is no blend line, but certainly I think doing anything but that would be advisable. You saw the attempted move. Even if you pull out, just yield to the right, but that's wrong side of the racetrack. And I think that's not paying attention to your relative. And then that was the incident we saw live. And then when you go to turn the car around, it's about equally as bad.
Keep the camera on this car a second, because this guy, I've got to hand it to him. We've been doing the F1600s. This is the second season I've been part of this. And that is fantastic. You've got to say, I mean, is it a glitch? Is it, you know...
Does that make it an F1200 if it's only got 3 tires, or does that not count? We're talking about engines, right?
Well, hang on a second. If we're doing, it's an F1600, so that'd be 400 tires. Yeah, no, all right, I'm on board with that.
So his F1200 is going to try to do its best to get back to the pits. If he hasn't already used the quick repair, that's available. Back up front, the battle for the race lead on again. Zach Buchanan trying to make a move on John Beneled. Can't do it that time as they come down into the tightest part of the racetrack. This sweeping complex of 8, 9, and 10. One car into the outside wall as the race leaders zip on through. Remember, Broomhead still third, hasn't backed off at all. These 3 cars seem to be very even as they battle for the lead. Again, up over the crest, down Jackson Drive, right-hand turn number 12, and they'll put their 7th lap of this race behind them. Let's see if anybody can get a draft. This run down to turn 1 a little bit shorter than when we come down this same road from the other direction, so not as big of a passing opportunity here, and they all stay in line. We'll see if they can set it up, though, for when we loop back around Columbus Drive and exit turn 5 in about 30 seconds.
I'm just thinking that was Mika they just passed, and I certainly you're there, you're in Micah. My apologies, Micah. You're there, you're in the battle, you're having fun, and then to go past the newly dubbed F1200 rocking 3 wheels, that must have been like a sorry, what was that? Okay, back in the zone. As you can see, Broomhead currently in 3rd place. He is starting to fall away just very slightly, but not enough that he is out of the draft. He certainly, you know what, 3rd place would be a good result, but I'm really impressed with Benvelis driving for this first race. He's got some very formidable drivers behind him. Buchanan is definitely not somebody who you could just shrug off. This man is going to try and he's going to push, and I'm really impressed with Benvelis. Certainly he's representing Lima Racing fantastically right now, rocking that pole position.
And for all the mistakes that we have seen, he has been rock solid despite the fact that Zach Buchanan has been plastered on the gearbox for the better part of about 4 laps consecutively. I mean, any small misstep for the 08 car is going to invite that 40 to come and attack, but he has not put one of those skinny tires wrong quite yet. Closed it in on 2 minutes to go. That may give us about 2 laps left as we're looking at about 1 minute and 30-second long lap times. We'll wait to see. More traffic up the road gets you nervous. It's Mielman again yielding to the left-hand side. Your leaders get on through without incident that time. Broomhead also gets through, but it did cost that P3 car a little bit of time.
Yeah, definitely. Where it's Mailman is also part of Lehman Race, and he would have been very quick to get out of the way. He'd have been aware that Benvelid was on the way. But I think Broomhead, honestly, would be very happy to get a 3rd position. He's definitely not had the most luck. As we're on board with Nicard and Bev right now, he's chasing Janateus. Now, I am wondering, Janateus was in that incident with Stuart Ross earlier where he just locked up on the brakes. So he could have a damaged car. It's certainly not something I'm going to rule out as Nicard and Bev. He's straight past, but it's not over for Janateus yet. He's having another crack, but he's also got Bill Pritchard right behind him in the number 2.
And Pritchard's right there as well. That's kind of a 4-car pack from 4th through, 3-car pack from 4th through 6th. I would think that there's some damage with Janateus and company only because, well, they've been fighting. They have lost 7 seconds to the leaders. That seems like a lot. And look out, wrecked car in front of the leaders. One more car into the outside wall. Mielman was the one around initially. Then there was another wreck ahead of the leaders. It does not affect these top 3, and they will indeed come to collect the white flag this time by. If Broomhead or Buchanan have got anything, now's the time to show it. 1 lap to go in feature race number 1.
It's definitely a risk versus reward, but as you're saying about the skinny tires as well, like, it just got me thinking, you know, I don't know about you, Evan. Oh no, he's brushed the wall. That's not what you want to do. I'm sorry, I get very excited by this. It's just grazing the wall there, Bambolid. But I love driving like cars with skinny tires and stuff like that because you can find the limit of grip that much quicker. compared to something that's like got big, wide, gnarly slicks on it. You know, you really got to be absolutely milking it to get to limit. As you can see there, Buchanan has got by. That mistake obviously costing Benvelet, as Broomhead is going in for a sniff as well. Now, is this going to give Buchanan the chance to run away with it? Benvelet's still currently on the inside, but not by much. Broomhead could shut the door on him. No, Broomhead's got it.
And it's a disaster. Couple of corners for Benvelet there, who falls from first to third and through to the race lead, Zach Buchanan. So Broomhead slices in between them, and now he only has about 1 or 2 more passing opportunities. Looks like it's clean track up the road. Right hand, turn 10, then 2 90-degree corners right here to turn 11. It's a good exit for the 40. Broomhead's going to need a lot extra if he wants to steal the win. Final turn at Chicago. Great exit for the 40. It's clean off, and Zach Buchanan is going to lead only the final lap, but he wins the first F1600 feature tonight on the streets of Chicago.
That was an absolutely fantastic race, but it looks like we've got more action happening further back in the field. We've got James Carter here. He's definitely had his fair share of incidents today, but he's supporting an American Red Cross as well, as usual. Mr. Carter is a regular with the BiS F1600. Now, let me have a quick look. Who is he playing with as I have a quick peek? James Carter. He's fighting with Mark Boyd. Mark Boyd, real-life radical driver with the Auto Eclectic Motorsports. I actually run with him in the Radicals myself. I don't know why he said that he has to let me represent, but he's still there. He's on the tail of James Carter. He's absolutely giving it a go, but I think he's run out of track. I don't think he's going to do it as James Carter comes across the line, coming 8th and 9th respectively. And I'm going to give a very quick shout out as well to some of our hard chargers. So hard charger right now is Jacob Exton. We didn't see him much today. That was the 22 car. Well done to him. And next would be Mr. Bill Pritchard with 9 and James Carter with 9. So well done to you, gentlemen. Great moving through the field there.
Yeah, some impressive drivers gained. What that does mean, though, if there's big movers, there's got to be big losers. And it was a tough break for Stuart Ross, who started that one on pole, fell down to 11th position. Cedric O'Hyan started top 10, slipped out of it. Micah Dorn started 7th, slipped to 20th. So those are going to be some drivers who look to improve. Let's take a look and name them all and take a look at your full race results for race number 1. Again, Zach Buchanan steals the win in that last lap pass. It is going to be the first points race win for Buchanan of the year. It's also the 3rd different time out of 4 feature races that a points race has been won by someone whose last name starts with a B. And you want to know why? Well, there's a lot of talent. Broomhead, P2, Benvelet, P3. They're your podium finishers. Pritchard, Janateus, your top 5, with Nakata, Bev, Gerard, Carter, Boyd, Exton, and Ross, the top 10.
As we look at 11th, we've got Keenan Harris there. Janateus right behind him. Swindles there in 13th. O'Hyan, he got a coincidence as well in 14th. Dottie in 15th. Cartini in 16th. Mr. Yang, 17th. Kobe in 18th. Amaro 19th. And Duern in 20th. With Mailman, Notopoulos, and Dante Kisp. He is actually had his wisdom teeth out, so that's why we're not going to see him on the grid today. He's probably feeling the effects of that right now.
That is that's understandable. I did that about a month ago. Not fun for at minimum a couple days. So that's understandable. So we're gonna line them up, and again, the starting order for this second feature race simply going to be the finishing order from the first one. So Zach Buchanan looks to become the first driver to win multiple points races in a single night. Of course, we saw Broomhead, Ross, Benvelet take the 3 different feature race wins from week number 1 in Road Atlanta, and Buchanan getting the first one tonight, looking to be the first driver to repeat. Of course, we saw Paxa do so in the Formula Festival last time out, but that was a non-points race in terms of this F1600 Championship Series. That full running order and starting grid will scroll through the bottom of the screen there as we have 22 cars lined up and ready to go. I thought it would be Turn 1, lap 1, chaos. That was not the case on the opening lap of the race. Instead, the attrition was more spread out through the opening 5 minutes or so. And as the clock kicks down to 0, the key for Buchanan is going to be getting clear in the race lead and leaving some of those 2 and 3 wide dive bombs for the first turn behind him and in the rear view mirror. The 40 will yield to the right-hand side as the race leader, Michael Broomhead, watches on. That's the blue and red car just above your shot in the bottom right with your pole car, waiting for the green lights to turn on as we go racing. It's feature race number 2 in Chicago.
Oh, it's great. Zach Buchanan, he's off. He's got John Benbelief right behind him, but Broomhead is trying to really stake in the cert dominance of that second position. Bill Pritchard right behind in 4th. Buchanan, currently, he is running away from it. At least he's certainly trying. Broomhead defensive there on Benbelief. As you can see, the field slowly coming through. Well, I say slowly. It's his race car. It's pretty quick, but this isn't a Formula 1 car. Anyway, you get my point. All clean so far. This is good news. I'm not seeing anybody drop through the field at high speed backwards, so excellent news to start with. What do you think, Evan?
Yeah, I'm impressed. We had a couple people make those look. There's a dive as we come into what's turn number 5, that little short complex there. That's the 23 car of Assad Nakhanemev side by side currently in drag racing with Clovis Girard. But look at all the 2 wide. There's about 6 pairs of them down the South Columbus Drive stretches. We had the left-hander turn 5. It's real tight with those tires there. Everybody in the top 10. So far, so good. Now 3 wide over the crest of East Balbo Drive. Right-hander turn 7. Can they make it through clean? They do. This is impressive close quarter stuff on lap 1 of the second feature.
I gotta be honest, Evan, this is one of the series where I think that sometimes I actually sweat more commentating than I do actually driving it. Like, the racing is just, Gianatte's there, he's putting a nose in, he's gone deep, and he's got it. That was clean. He is through. But he has a whole hornet's nest of cars behind him. I don't think it's over yet by any means, but he's certainly going to try and make a good recovery after getting caught in that incident in race 1. But currently, as we look, we've got Buchanan, Benbelief, Pritchard, Broomhead, and then Nakhanemev for the top 5.
So the only change, of course, was Benbelief moving up from 3rd to 2nd. It was at the expense of Michael Broomhead, who slid down from 2nd on the grid to 4th. So he got passed up by both Benbelief and Pritchard. So maybe looking to make up some of that ground as we jump on board with Eugene Cartini, the 24 car. Currently in the mid-pack right now, 18th spot, looking to make some moves. The bad news is there's not a lot of cars out the windscreen of that 24. That's because they're behind challenging. Matthew Mielman, you got Phil Armand. It's a bad corner, missed the exit, takes out the 6. Not an ideal corner there for the 24, and Cartini will try to drive away, but that right front tire looks a little bit shaky to me.
Yeah, I'd say that he's probably lost a ball joint there at that point. That's the mechanical side. I mean, it's unfortunate. Oh, here we go. We got Mika and Cartini going for the F1200s today, but it's unfortunate. But from what I understand, I think Cartini, I believe he races in real life, so I can definitely understand how hard it can be to go from racing in person to racing on a sim, because while the sim is fantastic, you don't have, for lack of better words, you don't have the butt dyno. You know, you don't have that extra force, and a lot of us don't, have the means to have like a motion rig. So, I can appreciate that it can be quite challenging to drive these vehicles. He's not got them extra senses.
You don't have that, but the added benefit is that hitting the wall doesn't hurt, and it also doesn't cost as much to drive around on 3 tires. So pros and cons to being in the virtual world as we check back in with your race leader. Zach Buchanan started up front. He's been up front, but John Benvalid has been all over the gearbox. These two have checked out, some 2.6 seconds ahead of that next group who just rounded that time off of the exit of turn number 7. The battle for 3rd and 4th between Pritchard and Broomhead, out of sight, out of mind for these top 2. So is this battle in the midfield. It's basically everybody else fighting down to turn number 6. Big dive to the inside. What a move by Girard, who makes it stick in the blue and white 27.
It's good to see Gerard getting in on some action. Like, you know, this guy, I believe he is I think he wrenches on some of the radicals, like in person. I think he does that. I know he's part of that series in some kind of grasp. I'm not fully sure. We'll have to catch up with him at some point. But oh, and I'm loving it. He's using a sequential shifter as well. I'm not going to say the brand of the gloves. They don't sponsor us, but definitely he's going for the very authentic experience. But it's good to see he's having a clean race. He's not had the best of luck so far, but you definitely got to remember to respect the track limits. But by all means, Bev, he's a younger gentleman, and he is not one to shake a stick at. He will push Gerard. Like, this battle is not over yet. And then even then, you've got Boyd, and then you've got last year's champion, Keaton Harris, right behind him as well. With Janateus, he'll be keen, potentially coming in on that action as well.
And you can see these cars are kind of stuck to fight amongst themselves. There's a decent enough gap until you get back to Stuart Ross in fifth. That's about 2 seconds up the road. So as the leader of this group for Clovis Gerard, oh, spinner behind Nikodemev into the wall. He collects Mark Boyd. There's also contact as Janateus tried to get through. Keenan Harris gets wadded up on the outside. That is a sneaky corner, right? There are so many of these turns that are all 90 degrees, and not that one, right? It's kind of a 45-degree kink, and it's catching these drivers off time after time. It's about at least the third incident we've seen start right there on a self-spin. It's really the only corner like that on track.
It was definitely unfortunate. I think what's happening is all the weight of the car, even though these aren't heavy cars, but all the weight is going on the front tires, and then if you just give it a little bit too much, you know, you've not got enough weight on the back, you go to turn, and there's not enough pressure down on the rear tires, and the back end just kicks out, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, poor Mark Boyd, there's nowhere he could have gone, but I will say Nikodemev, excellent job resetting quickly back to the pitch. You know, he tried to minimize the casualties as quickly as possible, but I'm trying to find the 41 cars. I look, one who seemed to have come out absolute gravy out of that, but why can't I find the 41? What am I missing? Did I read that wrong? There was one of them that came out absolutely smelling of roses from that. Could have been the 61. That's my reading skills there for you. But we're currently on board with Mika Dern right there. Micah, damn it, Micah. I'm so sorry, Micah Dern. He's currently started 20th. He started 20th and he's currently 8th, so he is currently one of our hard chargers. We got Sam Trinopoulos. He's certainly challenged him as well, but Sam's just a couple of places back. He's having a great race, both of them up 12 positions as well. Buchanan has also managed to take the lead from Bembalid, but, you know, as we're looking at the back as well, you know, it's been a pretty clean race. You know, things have happened, but I've not seen anybody take anybody else out. You know, it's been looking pretty good. Evan, are you here, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I've been just watching what's been going on up front, right? I mean, Zach Buchanan has led every single lap thus far. Ben Valid had been doing a better job at pressuring him for the race lead. He has since slipped back to about a 2-second difference, and it has turned into this, the battle for second. So Ben Valid no longer fighting to Buchanan for the lead, instead trying to play some defense, but here comes Michael Broomhead. The big run. Is it a big dive to turn number 1? They'll both leave each other space, but now they'll flip. The inside positioning goes to Benvalid for turn number 2, and I think he might have hooked the right rear on the inside wall just enough to give Broomhead the speed on exit, and the 00 car clear to P2.
Oh, definitely. As soon as I seen Broomhead and Benvalid together, I knew we were going to get a race, but the question is, Ross is, even though like we got 6 minutes to go, these guys keep battling. Ross and Pritchard, they are going to catch up, and they're going to turn this battle for second and third into a 4-way fight. But you know, they're going to have to really battle hard. You see them go past the back marker there, the number 9 car of Cedric O'Hyan. He's not having quite as much luck as Benvalid at the minute, but certainly, you know, Benvalid, I want to give him a quick shout out as well. I think he's probably one of the most committed drivers to the BIS leagues at the minute. This gentleman, he's off his own back, he's actually doing things like putting up practice sessions and stuff. And as a league admin, I just want to, you know, I want to announce on the broadcast, thank you very much for doing that and having such enthusiasm. So keep it up. And obviously, I'm cheering for you. I don't have favorites, but you know, for me, you're number 1.
rooting interest as we take a look at Cedric O'Hayan in the number 9 car, and you just see the pace difference there, getting the doors blown off as they're driving by like he's on a explore lap as he gets blown by, and that 9 car is still significantly off the pace, continuing to drop positions. So any competitive aspirations that the 9 car had for this second feature of the night have gone to the wayside quite quickly. Back up front, going to be about 10 minutes down, 5 minutes to go in your second of 3 feature races on the night, part of our ongoing coverage here on Podium of the BiS Formula 1600 Championship Series. You go on board in what is the battle for second and third. Ben Valid lost it to Broomhead not that long ago, but he has not allowed the 00 to get away. It was a better exit that time for Broomhead. It pads the small gap, but give credit to the 08 of John Benvalid not letting that 00 check out for the lead, keeping it very much in contention for P2.
Oh, he's keeping Broomhead honest there as we're on board there with Robert Covey. I recognise it by the paint, Asher. Point for me on now. Robert Covey there with the driver cam and the absolutely phenomenal beard. So I wish I could do that. Maybe not quite the same kind of grey texture. I'm not ready to feel that old, but at the minute, Mr. Robert Covey as well. Let's see, how's he doing? So he is currently up 6 positions in quite a little bit of clean air right now, but you know what? He's in 12th, so ideally, you know what? He could do with getting up a couple of places. That would be the goal, because remember, race 2, the top 10, then get inverted into race 3.
That is the big twist that we'll see every week. It doesn't happen between rounds 1 and 2, but it does happen between rounds 2 and 3, and that is those top 10 flipping. So Connor Janateus, it's going to be a hard-fought night back, right? He started second in the first feature, slipped to 12th, gained a couple of spots here, currently in 7th. If that position holds, that will flip to a P4 on the starting grid for the last feature race of the evening. So some positive outlook for some of those names. Even Micah Dorn, who started 20th, is up to 8th. That could be a good grid spot. Same with San Trentopoulos, who started 22nd, is up to 9th. All of those drivers tail end of the top 10 looking to reap the benefits of the invert if those positions hold through the next 3 minutes and 14, 13, 12. You get the idea. Seconds and counting.
Absolutely. I mean, certainly, you know what, if I was Buchanan, you know, I'm feeling pretty good right now, but it's one of those races, you know, even though it's only a 15-minute race, it's a wicked slide there from John Benvalid, but this is one of those races where you literally, you're watching the countdown, and you just like, okay, one more lap, one more corner, and you start counting down, just trying to hold on for everything you've got, but at the minute, Benvalid is definitely dropping back from Broomhead, but I think Broomhead may be potentially getting a little bit closer to Buchanan, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time. Anything can happen, as we've seen here. You know, you just get a little bit too close to the wall. Unfortunate for Benvalid, that's what he did in race 1 this evening, you know, and it ended up costing him a couple of spots. You know, these cars, it's an open wheel car, you know, there isn't a fender to absorb the impact. It goes purely straight to the suspension.
Car on the pit road yields wide. That was Richard Swindells, who was yielding to the race leaders. Good move to give them the preferred position. And you're right, it is Broomhead who is the best car on track currently. Last lap, a 132.061. That was 0.2 better than Benvalid behind him and 0.3 better than Buchanan in front of him. That's all fine and dandy. That is not still going to be enough to be able to get there before this race is done. We're likely looking at the white flag next time by. Now, Buchanan still has to have clean laps, and that's kind of a twofold requirement. One is no mistakes on your behalf. The other one is you make one of these blind corners, you hope there's not a race car parked in front of you from another incident, right? That was a big thing in the first feature that we haven't seen a ton in the second one, was kind of those block track moments. So Buchanan has to be hyper aware of what's in front of him, and if needed, use that 1.4, 1.5 second advantage to his benefit to take it easy and bring this 40 car home for the win.
This is where having a crew chief or a crew chief app is really of benefit, especially on a street circuit, and even more so if you're doing like an endurance event or multi-class racing. But certainly for this, these guys are generally going to be running solo. I mean, I know some of the guys, they do actually they have somebody who comes and spots for them. I don't think anybody in the 1600s does, or ironically the 1200s, you know. But certainly in one of our other BiS Radicals. I think Swelio, he has a spotter. But as you can see here, Buchanan is on the white flag right now. Broomhead closed that gap down to under a second. So briefly under a second. You know, if he can get a good draft, this could be it, but I don't think he's going to get a chance to make a move. As I look around at the timing, closest cars on track would actually be James Carter and Sam Trinopoulos. They're currently battling for 9th and 10th as well. So good thing is both of them guys will be, you know, in that top grid and give them a good bounce. But I just want to throw it out there as well. James Doherty, he's in 11th. He's right on the tail, so there could be somebody who's going to get put into first or stay in 11th. This could be a huge... As they're going side by side. Mr. Director, can we get on that? 61, please? Pretty please? A mysterious 6141 car? Thank you. Sorry, this is a high-value battle for me. As basically, the winner of this gets put into pole for the next race. So there is definitely a good incentive, as we're going to see Zach Buchanan here. He's coming, I believe that's the final corner. I'm just guessing, sliding that car. Broomhead, he is right on the tail, absolutely wishing he had a couple more laps.
He's going to get one more corner. Broomhead, no doubt faster, but he is not going to have enough time to make up the gap. And Zach Buchanan is going to go back-to-back as the first repeat points winner of the season. Broomhead second, Benville in third. We jump back to the battle for what will become pole position as Sam Trentopoulos drops to 11th. That puts him out of the invert spot, and admittedly, James Carter leads atop James Doherty right now, but if I'm Doherty, I don't want to pass him, and he's going to get hit from behind. Doherty gets spun after contact from Sam Trentopoulos, and Carter will go to finish in 9th position. Trentopoulos wants to slow to yield the position to give it back to Doherty, but Doherty's no longer on the racetrack. So who's going to end up with 10th and pole? Trentopoulos will reluctantly cross the line in 10th, and that'll give him pole for the start of feature race 3. What a messy battle for P9 in the final couple of corners.
Oh, for a second, I seen Kobe come around and he went into Doherty as well, and I thought Kobe was going to get it, but I think Sam, like you said, he tried to give it back, and then, you know, okay, he got too much, but this is one of my favorite things about the F1600s. Excuse me, I'm hiccuping as well. I do apologize. I can't multitask, hiccup, and commentate, but this is one of my favorite things because all of a sudden you're fighting for 10th place like it's your last dying breath. And the reason is because you're going to end up starting on pole. I mean, and not only that, we're going to end up with this beautiful top 10 reverse grid in the next and the final, the main feature of tonight's F1600, BiS F1600, and Chicago Street Circuit.
It was a fun one that went all the way down to the last lap, and the big takeaway from this is going to be flip those names on the left. Buchanan has scored a lot of points tonight with 2 feature race wins, but he's going to go all the way down to where Trentopoulos stands in 10th. And on the flip side, your top 3 for the next start will be Trentopoulos, Carter, and Doran. So that's a big flip. Tough nights, though, continue for the likes of Nikonombev, who ends up in 19th position in that last one. So certainly some of those drivers who were expecting more out of this one. And, of course, Exton and Yang unable to make it to the end of the race with DNFs on the bottom. So a 5-minute warm-up session for these drivers to try to make any last adjustments, but I think the goal at hand is quite understood by the rest of these drivers. It's just going to come down to discipline, lack of mistakes, and I think that's been some of the defining characteristics of the first 2.
Well, that's generally how I do, you know, that's how I get most of my positions, is purely by attrition. You know, it depends on the strength of field, but we're going to have a quick little mention here for one of our news. Well, it is our newest sponsor, MotorRacingChecklist.com. That is made by a sim racer for a sim racer. You know, it's absolutely fantastic. There's a book, there's courses. Mr. Broomhead, he will go more into that a bit later, but MotorRacingChecklist.com, also advertised by our own James Carter today. And also as well, Turn 1 Sim Racing, where champions are born. So if you want to go and race, you can actually do that. If you don't have a rig, that is a place to go. I believe they are out in the Greater Toronto area as well.
We'll take a quick opportunity to step aside, and when we come back, we'll drop the green for the final feature of the night. You're watching Podium's continuing coverage of the BiS Formula 1600 Championship Series.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
If you really want to improve your driving technique, you cannot just ask someone to tell you when to brake or when to turn. You have to learn how the car wants you to drive it. You have to learn car handling techniques, and that's where I excel at. The Motor Racing Checklist is the work of my life, currently with 2,000 drivers registered, and here's the thing. If you don't improve in 30 days, you get your money back. So give it a try. If you have any questions, just send me a message. I'm always available to answering these questions. This course is made for high-level drivers. If you're a beginner, you're gonna use it for a long time because all these concepts will help you right away, but the more you improve, the more you understand them, and then you're able to squeeze every concept to the limit, and you're gonna gain precision to be able to apply them in a very subtle way that most people don't even notice a difference in their driving. But those are the small things that make you improve a tenth per corner, and then if you just add up those tenths, you realize you're 1 second faster than everyone else. Give it a try. If you have any question, just send me a message.
And back live on the virtual streets of Chicago is our continuing coverage of the BiS Formula 1600 Championship Series continues on Podium. The final seconds of the warm-up session tick away as we are moments away from the start of this third and final feature race. DJ Lyon, our producer, downstairs. Daniel Salmon and myself have a Pasoko in the booth. And Zippy, we have seen some real exciting racing tonight. That shouldn't surprise us, though. It's been good every Wednesday night thus far, but real anticipated to see the extra curveball that the upcoming invert's going to throw into the mix.
Oh, it is my favorite part of the night, Evan. Absolutely love it. And right, as you said, this is my favorite thing about the BiS series that we run. You know, it's just the racing, the wheel-to-wheel action. And not only that, you got great sportsmanship as well. The camaraderie is there. But also as well, we got team events as well. We got Lima Racing currently, I believe, leading the team championship.
It has been a good night for them. We'll see if that continues. Cars on the grid. Let's take a look at your starting grid. It'll be very different looking because of the invert. So it is Sam Trentopoulos who will start from pole. That is the inside right side of row number 1, with James Carter staggered to the left-hand side in second. Micah Dorn and Clovis Gerard will make up row number 2, with Connor Janiteas and Bill Pritchard on row 3. Behind them, row 4, we'll see the 67 of Stuart Ross and the 08 of John Benvalid. And in the best 2 in town from the last feature, Michael Broomhead and Zach Buchanan on row 5.
As we look at row 11? Okay, oh, we skipped through. Okay, yeah, now, the good thing is our race organizer has been able to extend the grid for us, which makes it a little bit kinder for us to announce. But as I have a quick look here, yeah, we're just going to roll it in about 40 seconds. Who's going to be your one who to be keeping an eye on in this one, Ev?
I mean, I think it's hard to bet against Zach Buchanan, right? And I know it sounds like a softball, but he's won both, but he hasn't had to work through the pack, right? Started third in the first feature, won it. Started from pole in the second one, won it. It's a heck of a lot more difficult from row 5.
Oh, I've seen him around in the Radicals as well, and I think he was having so much fun that he wanted to come and join this. But we've got 10 seconds left to go on the grid. My pick, you know what? I'm rooting for Benvalid or actually Stuart Ross. He certainly got potential. Both Well, Ross and Wembley. There you go. That's my picks. I picked
Ross started on pole at the very start of the night, was unable to get the win there. Can he get redemption from the inside of row number 4? Stuart Ross starts in 7th. For the final time tonight, we say let's go racing at Chicago. Green flag in the air. It's an okay start for Trentopoulos, but here comes Carter trying to challenge for the lead. Side by side for 3rd, 3 wide for 5th. They're through turn 1.
And you know what? They're all through cleanly. This is absolutely fantastic. And already looking at the screens, I'm not seeing anybody absolutely having a huge hard charger, but Phil Amaro dropping back 7 spots. So I imagine something must have happened with him. But other than that, everything's looking pretty consistent right now.
Lots of traffic. There's that tricky corner that's caught a couple cars out tonight right here. The kink, I'm going to call it. That 45-degree one into the short chute, but they all make it through cleanly there. And now they'll head onto the longest straight of the racetrack. The run from 5 to 6 down Columbus Drive. Lots of drafting opportunities as they snake to the outside to set up that wide corner entry as Sam Trentopoulos is going to lose the race lead. So the 87 car did not get a good exit off of that kink, made some contact with the wall. Trentopoulos loses the top spot as now it's Micah Dorn up front.
Yeah, Mike has not had much luck this evening so far, but you know what? He's currently sat in a pretty good spot, and not only that, with there being so much traffic behind him, this is the time where he's really got to put his knuckles down, put his foot down, and just get on with it. Oh no! That was big spot! That's Natopoulos. He's barbecued at the minute. He's currently having the pit, burgers, fries, whatever you want it. He's got it, but he is, fair to say, he is out of the race.
What a fall from grace for Trentopoulos after the, again, sloppy end of the second feature. It is not how he wanted to get the pole invert. He tried to give it back and then started up front in this one, made the mistake from the lead. He's now done, and another mistake there in turn number 1 as off and into the tires. Oh, Clovis Gerard, and now another spinner behind these leaders as it's trouble with Assad Nakatambev and Jacob Exton. So all kinds of trouble on lap 2 in turn number 1.
You know what? We should have given these guys a schedule. Turn 1, lap 1. That's what I'm expecting the chaos. But let's have a quick look here. We've got Nakatambev. He's going for a move on the inside there. And I'm not really too sure on that one, but then it looks like 22. Who's that? That's a Britannia car. They got caught up in that as well. 22 would be... It is 22. We know how good I am at reading car numbers. Jacob Exton. There you go.
Like, I can confirm, looking at the scoring list, there is a 22. So Jacob Exton, the culprit in that one. And that sends a lot of cars to pit road. Trentopoulos, Amaro, Mielman, Nakatambev, all to pit lane. And a lot of them out of this race early, which has really shook things up. And with Micah Dorn getting out to an early lead, it leaves us with a handful of other battles throughout the field. As let's wind it back and watch this start again, and we'll see how it was tight, but for the most part it was a good start right here for your pole sitter as Trentopoulos got off the line. The challenge comes to the inside. Carter tries to get there but can't, so it is all for Trentopoulos for the first couple of corners, and he's fine and dandy as they race off a 2. Small kink there for turn number 3. And then here's where things start to go wrong for him, right? He has a couple of connection issues, so it makes the replay a little bit messy, but right here is when it goes bad for him. He's going to head down towards the kink, turn number 4 right here. No problem there, but then he's got to set up here for turn 5. See how he doesn't get all the way to the left? That's not a good arc into the corner, hits the wall on the exit, and that's where they all pass him by, and it's likely damage sustained in that contact that then led to the subsequent crash when he completely missed turn 11 later in the lap.
Yeah, you can just see there the steering wheel was slightly off, but it looks like we've had a few more incidents occurring. I've seen, oh wow, the pits are starting to get quite popular at this point. Robert Covey, he is in the pits. The 26 car as well, Phil Amaro. Number 9, who's that now? Cedric O'Hyan, he's in the pits. Looks like there's another Lima racing behind. I'm guessing that is...
Yeah, we'll see the replay here of, again, damage on the left front. He's still in second at this point. Remember, this is all lap 1, and then right here, the right-hander turn 11 just late on the brakes. There's, no contact with the outside wall, trying to turn in, didn't get the inside wall. He just missed the corner, just flat out missed it. And again, that was likely aided by the damage on that car, but that was Sam Trimtopoulos and the no good, very bad first lap of this race, which has seen him go from pole position to 20th as he has dropped out.
It's just the nature of the thing. Sometimes reverse grids can be beautiful, other times it can be absolute chaos. But at the minute, as you said, Buchanan, he's certainly rocking it. He's in 4th place now. He's got Broomhead right behind him, Benvalid not far behind him as well. So, the band of bees is back together at this point. We've got all 3 pieces of the equipment, and I think we're in for another big show. But Mika Dern, Mike, damn it, Mike. Mike, he's currently pulling away. He's at hovering between 3 and 4 seconds now. But Stuart Ross has finally got a bit of clean air. This could be his chance to secure some points this evening. He's had a bit of an unlucky night, and we know he can drive this car. He has been fantastically consistent in the F1600. As we can see, James Carter there having a battle with Bill Pritchard there of CRL Canada Rainbow Warriors, and looks like Mark Boyd behind him in the 16 car. Who's the 16 now?
You got Richard Swindles in the 16 car. Bill Pritchard going to make the pass. That's the 2 car moving forward. So move Pritchard on up, and James Doherty is not done yet. He'll be the next man up to make the move on the inside of Richard Swindles, and it is a couple of spots lost for the 16 there. So going the wrong direction is Richard. Not done yet because Mark Boyd's 312 would be the next man up.
Oh, it's definitely, we've got a good battle going on. Certainly a nice chain of 4 or 5. And, this is the beauty of the F1600 with on board with Mark Boyd there, the auto eclectic team principal there. And, this guy usually drives a radical, but he's come out as well. He's had fun. He's enjoying the race, and he's out in the F1600 with us tonight. And the beautiful part is I see a wreck there as well. There's a Lima racing car that spun, but that's a bit further back. That's okay. That is 08. Benvalid?
From 6th, John Benvalid, who had been one of the drivers who did not get the advantage of the invert. The invert had worked against him, had a self-spin. Let's go on board with Benvalid. It's turn 1. I don't know. I thought maybe the lapped car coming out of pit road spooked him, but the onboard there showed you he didn't even see that car behind the wall. He might have just been caught watching the cars up the road. He was a little bit deep into the corner, spun that machine out. The only benefit, I would say, is at no point did he get the wall, and he also didn't get his clock cleaned by a car coming around the corner at full speed. So could have been worse for Benvalid. He will only fall from 6th to 8th, but it is still going to be a blow to his hopes as we jump back up to the battle for 3rd. Connor Janateus going to get overtaken as Zach Buchanan through from the inside, and they'll swap out for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, absolutely running a train there on Janateus, but he's not going to be out of the fight yet. He will definitely, he's going to put a good fight up to Broomhead. He's going to certainly give the league admin, the league organizer, a bit of his run for his money there. But Buchanan, I think, is going to certainly be hoping for Janateus and Broomhead to have a bit of a battle, as he wants to go and try and chase down Stuart Ross, who he's holding back steady from Micah. Did I get it? Micah? Yes, he's holding back. Got it, finally. I'm going to call him Mika for the rest of the evening. Whereas Micah's still holding like a 3-second gap in the lead. It's going great for him. And as I have a quick look, who's got the fastest lap right now? 31.8 is Zach Buchanan right now, which I'd say, yeah, he is our fastest guy on the track.
Buchanan has been consistently the fastest on track. That goes and bodes well for my pick as the driver to watch. I just am not entirely convinced that he's going to have enough time to get to Micah Dorn and Stuart Ross. It's also not helpful that they're not really battling with each other, right? It's about a 2.5-second lead for Dorn over Ross, so they're not slowing each other down. They're running their own lap times. If Buchanan can maintain pace, that last lap he was 0.6 of a second faster than the leader and 7 faster than Ross. If he can match that, he's going to be right within about a second by the last lap, but we'll just have to keep watching those intervals because I think it's going to be tricky to execute as Clovis Gerard attempts to execute a pass on Keenan Harris, but it was Harris who made the move earlier in the lap to take that spot away. So the battle for 6th continues on, and I think it's more so Gerard just trying to not let Harris pull away, because right now I think the one car, the faster of those two.
Yeah, definitely. You want to try and stay in the draft of these cars as much as possible. They're not a super high powerful car, and they do definitely appreciate, you know, careful use of momentum. As Bill Pritchard, I've got to say, the best headshot I've seen so far this evening. They're having a little bit of a sniff there, but I've said I've raced with Bill Pritchard actually for quite a few years now, and this guy is a clean driver. It's very rare I've ever seen anything which has been particularly questionable, and he's certainly, you know, he's keeping the guy ahead of him very honestly, the 70 car of James Carter there.
Inside of 5 minutes to go in the last feature race of the night for round 2 of this BiS Formula 1600 Championship Series from Chicago. They dart all across the start-finish straight as the battle for about 9th position on back rages on. James Carter spins, looks out, contact, Pritchard gets into him, and there's damage on the 2 car, which will allow Richard Swindells, who last time we saw him, he was losing spots, to pick up 2 in the blink of an eye. It all started as we take a second look when Carter lost it on his own. It wasn't the kink that time, it was the exit to the kink.
Damn, I was going to say, like, I almost felt like I just went and cursed poor Bill Pritchard, but I'm not going to take credit for that one. Mr. Carter, I do apologize. Mr. Carter, he's actually a man who usually runs an open wheel. I'm trying to think. I think it's maybe Formula 4. Certainly, he's generally an open-wheel guy, just with a lot more downforce. So, you know, obviously not quite got the same amount of grip as one of those cars, the F1600. So, aerodynamic is not really particularly aided. You know, there's no front splitter, no rear wing. You know, it's a very raw car. As you can see, Broomhead absolutely grazing. You know, trying to rub the lettering off the edge of those tires, with Janateus right behind him. I was expecting more from Janateus. Come on, like, you know, you've got the pace, you've got the talent, you can keep Broomhead on this, you know, give him a nudge. I encourage it.
A little bit more of the wall there for Michael Broomhead and company, as this is the battle for 4th and 5th position. Connor Janateus has the run. Does he make the move in the dive down to turn number 6? He does. Broomhead yields, looks to get the run off the corner, and tries to cross him up. It's going to be enough for Broomhead to get to the outside, but he's not going to be able to pull even. And Janateus has the first pickings at turn 7, and he will win out in that battle for the moment for what is 4th and 5th position. Up front, though, Micah Dorn's once large race lead has been evaporated. Stuart Ross in second has closed in. It is a 3-car length difference for the top spot, this time by what could be 2 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, I was just looking at the timing. It looks like Micah. It looks like I'm so unsure. It looks like Micah's last lap was a 133 flat with Ross doing a 131.9. So it was a whole second that last lap where he just went and absolutely gobbled him up. So Ross is right on the tail of him. Buchanan, he's having a quick look at from behind as well. You know, he's just seeing this as, okay, this is great. You guys keep fighting because I'm coming. There's only 2 minutes left, but I think we're going to get a freeway fight for the lead. Hopefully a clean one at that. As Broomhead, he's dropped back a few more places now. I do wonder if that little bit of bump and drag on the wall, I wonder if that had gone and bit him.
And if these top 2 start to fight and slow each other down, as you alluded to, Zach Buchanan watches on from 3rd, chomping at the bit to be able to complete the charge from the 10th to 1st. He wants to sweep the night here in the Windy City. Still, though, not within striking distance, as we likely come to the white flag, and now it's official on the scoring pylon. Coming to the white flag this next time by, Micah Dorn has led every single lap, benefited not as much as others, but from the invert. Finished 8th in the last feature. That set him up from 3rd. Fought for the lead early. We go on board with Stuart Ross, who comes to turn number 12, and they look for the white flag.
I gotta say as well, absolutely fantastic line through there. You could just see how close he was getting it to the inside of that, and especially in the F1600s, and even more on any circuit really, it's all about using as much of the track surface as you can. You can see Mika's a little bit wide there as Ross slides a bit, and he's just gonna graze the wall. Is that going to give Buchanan the chance? Well, actually, Buchanan's dropped back a little bit. He was closer than that before. Could just be
Buchanan's last lap was no better than either of the cars in front of him, so he gains nothing. And now Micah Dorn with some breathing room. The gap between he and Stuart Ross is about 6 car lengths, I would say, as they head to the kink part of the racetrack, as I've just decided to call it, turn 4. Now the right-hander, turn number 5, and they race down South Columbus Drive for the second to last time.
If it's any consolation there, Evan, I had the track map loaded up and I've not had a chance to even look at it the whole race. There's just been so much action going. As you can see there, Ross is absolutely hot on the tail. You see, they're absolutely, this is a risk versus reward, you know. Do you want to try and really use all of the limit, all of the grip, all of the track? As you can see, Ross there, he goes a bit beyond it and he just absolutely just nudges the wall. You know, I don't know how forgiving these guys are going to be with this. I don't know if there's a little bit of give in the wall, but I imagine it's a good thing. As you can see, he's there. Only 3 temps, 2 temps behind Durr.
Oh, but he used up a lot of it on the entry to turn 11, and it's not going to be a good exit. Dorn pulls 4 car lengths. Final exit. He'll be able to hang on, and Micah Dorn is going to win the 3rd and final feature in Chicago.
As I'm looking back as well, Mike Broomhead had gone in the pits and he ended up going back to like that 4-5 car fight, now the 00 car. So we see the 27 there of Clovis Gerard. He's got, there we go, that's what I'm looking for. You've got Broomhead, then you got Richard Swindles, Mark Boyd right behind him. These guys, freeway fight. It's one of the closest battles on track right now. Mark Boyd only 4 temps behind Swindles. I don't know if he's going to have enough track. Definitely not. That was a checkered flag, wasn't it?
Yeah, he runs out. Final corner, did not have enough time to get there. That was Broomhead who made that pass earlier on the last lap of this race into the kink. The 00 was able to overtake the 16. Swindles was not able to get back to him, so a couple of last lap passes to shake out the running order. And the streak is broken. Buchanan still with a mammoth night in the points with a first, and a 3rd. But the streak was snapped as it was Micah Dorn who started from 3rd. And yes, you can certainly point out the benefit of the invert that helped the 64, but he had to race through it all, and it was an impressive drive for Micah Dorn to go for the win. Stuart Ross in 2nd, Zach Buchanan in 3rd. We'll try to get a word with them and some of the rest of your top finishers in just a little bit. Connor Janateus and Clovis Gerard come home inside of your top 5 with John Benvalid, Michael Broomhead, Richard Swindles, Mark Boyd, and James Doherty, your top 10.
As we have a look at 11th place, Bill Pritchard there with James Carter right behind him in 12th. And then it's more of the, how do I want to phrase this? Grievously bodily card, I guess. You know, I guess that's the nature. You get what I'm trying to say. Obviously, absolutely making a complete hash of it. You are most welcome, anybody who's watching at home. Natopoulos there in 13th with Kobe 14th, Philip Morrow in 15th, Matthew Mailman in 16th with Keegan Harris. Honestly, I was surprised. I really expected more of him, but you know, Chicago is a tough track. It's certainly the one that I've never driven, and I can imagine, you know, maybe not his strongest point with Eugene Cartini right behind him in 18th, Cedric O'Hine in 19th, and Nick Hardenbev in 20th, with Exton Yang and Dante Crisp rounding out the field.
Nice starting good for Jacob Exton. Got 9th in the first feature, but 2 21st places from that point on was not the result that Jacob Exton was looking for. That is a look top to bottom at your full race results tonight from that 3rd and final feature race on the night. We'll take a quick opportunity to step aside once more when we come talk with your top finishers and send you off to Donington for the next race on the championship in a couple of weeks' time. You're watching the BiS F1600 Championship Series live on Podium.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
If you really want to improve your driving technique, you cannot just ask someone to tell you when to brake or when to turn. You have to learn how the car wants you to drive it. You have to learn car handling techniques, and that's where I excel at. The Motor Racing Checklist is the work of my life, currently with 2,000 drivers registered, and here's the thing. If you don't improve in 30 days, you get your money back. So give it a try. If you have any questions, just send me a message. I'm always available to answering these questions. This course is made for high-level drivers. If you're a beginner, you're gonna use it for a long time because all these concepts will help you right away. But the more you improve, the more you understand them, and then you're able to squeeze every concept to the limit, and you're gonna gain precision to be able to apply them in a very subtle way that most people don't even notice the difference in your driving. But those are the small things that make you improve a tenth per corner, and then if you just add up those tenths, you realize you're 1 second faster than everyone else. Give it a try. If you have any question, just send me a message.
Back live on the streets of Chicago as Podium's coverage of the BiS F1600 Championship Series continues with our presenting coverage sponsored by our friends at Turn 1 Sim Racing and MotorRacingChecklist.com 2.0. 3 points races in the books. We'll talk with your top finishers in just a moment. I want to welcome you back into the booth with our producer DJ Lyon, Daniel Zippy Salmon, and myself, Evan Pasoko. 25 points on the line in every single feature race to the race winner. 22 for second, 20 for third. Those continues at 2-point increments until you get to 7th position, who scores 14, and then it is single digits from there. There are some extra bonus points available for a lap led, for pole position and whatnot, but it is hard to differentiate yourself at either a 2 or a single point per position margin. The answer is to win, and somebody who did a good job at that tonight is standing by with us now. We're going trackside with Zach Buchanan. It is a 3rd place finish in this final feature. Zach, congratulations on that, but I want to talk a bigger picture because overall on the night, a first, and a 3rd is almost about as good as you could hope for.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It's my first race in this series, and it went pretty well. 2 wins and a 3rd place. I couldn't really be much happier.
Very different challenge on a street circuit like this than what we saw last time we went points racing at Road Atlanta, even when we did the Formula Festival a couple of weeks ago at Brands Hatch. But for making your first start here on a road course like this, where there is some elevation, but it's not like a road course type, right? It's on the streets, it's on the straights. It's really a lot of 90-degree corners, tight apexes, tight exits. What is it about a track like this that seemingly fits your driving style so well?
That's the funny thing. I usually really suck at street tracks. I don't know. It's not like I was mistake free. I think I hit the wall 20 or 30 times tonight, and we're just lucky the cars were more durable than they look. But yeah, I've been working a lot on driving smoother, staying out of trouble, and that paid off tonight.
The car is also the brightest one on track by a significant margin. Is that a strategy move as well?
I guess you could say that. I mainly just like the neon yellow, but I guess not only does it intimidate others, but I guess it makes me more visible on the camera.
Well, for a lot of the night, it was a good way for us to find the lead because it was looking for the bright yellow car. You do so good. You mentioned in your first time out with these F1600s this season. Where else are we going to see you in the 40 car? Are we going to see you when we go racing at Donington in January?
Yeah, I'm racing in the Radicals too. I've won 2 amateur sprint races there, but feature race luck hasn't been so great. So hoping I could carry this momentum into those races. But yeah, you can see me there.
Well, we're looking forward to that one on the other side of the holiday break. Zach, we'll let you get out of here and celebrate a well-deserved night. Before we do, though, anybody you want to say hi to?
I want to say hi to my brother Jeremy, who was chilling in voice with me tonight, and my girlfriend Arena.
Well, we appreciate you. Yeah, and we appreciate her letting you be here, right, on a Wednesday night with us. And we appreciate you being on track and putting on a show, Zach. Thanks for sticking around and chatting again. Congrats on the good night.
All right. Thank you, guys.
He's your third place finisher in the final feature, but again, big picture, it is a 2-race win night for Zach Buchanan. Good stuff from the driver of the number 40 car. Zippy, I'll toss things back over to you. I think you may be standing by with, let's see, Stuart Ross.
Stuart Ross, it's great to have you here in the booth. It definitely was not your night. Certainly race 1 started pole, ended up 10th, then race 2 started 10th. Things looked a bit better in 4th, but then race 3, 7th up to 2nd. Give us a quick run through. What was your night like?
Yeah, well, it was okay. It had its highs and lows, certainly. I got a nice pole lap thanks to Micah giving me a tow. I kind of messed up that race though from tapping the wall, and then just a spiral of events after that. Race 2 was okay. Race 3 was better. I'm kind of kicking myself that I couldn't get the move done on Micah and win it though, so it was all right overall. I think I'll be better at Donington though.
Yeah, certainly Chicago is, I've never driven it, but like absolutely zero room for forgiveness. I've seen quite a few of you guys were bouncing the car off the wall a little bit, like just, you know, Zach was saying it was quite forgiving. Did you guys pick up a lot of instant points? Did you find it messed with the alignment? Or was it pretty friendly?
Well, it kind of depends on how you hit the wall. So if you like clip the inside apex with just one wheel, you mess up the alignment quite a bit and you lose lap time. But if you just hit the wall and exit like kind of square, so both fronts and back tire at the same time, it doesn't affect you much at all. So.
Okay, so what we can take from that is instead of having a minor crash like one wheel, you know, hit the whole side of the car. Might not be more cost effective, but certainly keeps things balanced. But Stuart, certainly Donington is coming up next. It's going to be a little while until we get Donington. Is that one of your preferred tracks? You know, how do you feel about it?
I think I would certainly like it better than Chicago. Chicago was not my favorite. It was a simple track, but there's so much bumps and it was so slippery out there with the heat. I just wasn't really enjoying myself, to be honest.
Well, you know what? We certainly enjoyed watching you. You provided some great action tonight, and I was cheering for you quite discreetly, or maybe not as discreetly as I should have been in the commentator booth. You've been great so far through the series, through the season, and I certainly wish you the best of luck as we continue forward. But is there anybody you want to thank?
Just my parents for supporting me downstairs and watching me race. That's about it, really.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. And thank you again for coming in. And thank you also to his parents for not only letting him be here, but for supporting this young lad in being in sim racing. I don't take it for granted. Not everybody gets the chance to do that. You can just see you there grazing the wall, not to poke fun or anything. But certainly, you know what? Thank you for, you know, supporting this young lad. And anyway, Stuart, we'll leave you to it. But thanks for popping in. And yeah, we'll see you at the next round.
Yeah, see ya. Thank you.
Thank you. And that was Stuart Ross, everybody. Evan, are you going to catch up with our main race winner there, Micah, damn it.
I promise you get the name right, you can talk to him. Instead, I'll do the duties for Micah Dorn, who comes home with a race win in the final feature of the afternoon. Micah, congratulations, but let's talk big picture first, because what a night for you. You start real good in the first feature race in 7th, and you basically wreck out of that one to 20th. And then you spend that second race kind of building yourself back up to get the P8, to get the track position to eventually get a win. So it was quite a turnaround from you for feature race number 1 to this last one.
Yeah, what an exciting night. I mean, I really didn't expect this coming into it. Like you said, the first race didn't go too great. So the second one, I just kind of was happy to get my head down and just push as fast as I can and be safe and get through all the wrecks. And then, you know, the reverse top 10 got me right at the front for the last race, and then I was able to keep ahead just enough to secure the win. So yeah, crazy and super happy about it.
Didn't see you in the anamorphic esports machine last time we went points racing. A couple of weeks back now it's been at Road Atlanta. So to jump into the challenge here on the streets of Chicago, a unique car track combination. What did you enjoy about it? Because clearly, at least maybe I assume you were having fun with it. That typically goes hand in hand with having speed like you did.
Yeah, I mean it looks like such a simple track, and it is in some ways, but it's a lot more fun to drive than it looks. And in a car like this, where it's just about carrying the most speed around each corner, it's I think it's a really fun combo. You know, especially with that double apex right-hander that leads onto the back straight is super fun to just like nail and get the fastest exit speed. And so I found it enjoyable in that way for sure.
Got a couple of fun tracks coming up, the likes of Donington, Zandvoort, Bathurst, and many more. What's the outlook on the calendar? When will we see the 64 next?
I mean, I think any track can be fun in any car if you go in with the right mindset. I really enjoy pretty much all the tracks that are on this calendar. Zandvoort, I haven't driven yet in iRacing, maybe a couple times in some other platforms, but I haven't raced on it, so I'm really looking forward to that. Sending around some banked corners, maybe. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I know it's been a long, hard-fought night. We'll let you get out of here, but I know you got a lot of people cheering you on as well in the YouTube chat. Before we let you go, anything you want to say to them?
Thanks always for the support. I hear them cheering upstairs, so makes me feel really good to know that someone's cheering for me, and yeah, feels great.
And it was a fun defense at the end, watching you fight and hang on for the win there, Micah. We appreciate the time. Again, appreciate you being here with us, and congratulations on a good result.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
That's your race winner from the third feature of the afternoon. Micah Dord comes home with the checkered flag. I think that leaves only Mike Broomhead left. And Zippy, I'll toss that one back to you.
Yeah, I'm just going to apologize as well for me consistently getting Micah's name wrong. I'm a creature of habit. The trick is to get me in the right habit. But Mr. Mike Broomhead, now you gave us some colourful entertainment this evening, but we're not going to talk about your racing so much. What have you got to tell us as the BiS F16, well, BiS founder, I guess? You know, what have you got to tell us? What important updates do you have, sir?
Well, I'm sure you've noticed, and throughout the broadcast, I'm sure Zippy has been mentioning that, of course, we have a new sponsor. We have the Motor Racing Checklist by Sueyo Almeida. He's obviously got a book out as well. But both of those things are incredibly valuable to our AM drivers out here and everybody out there as well. You can learn so much from those guys, and obviously Sueyo is, if you watch the alternating Radical Cup, he is currently leading the Pro Championship in that, so he knows what he's talking about. But his Motor Racing Checklist is available online. 20% discount if you put the coupon code in. I'm going to forget the coupon code. It was in the, if you look at the ticker in the top left-hand corner, it will give you the coupon code there. I believe it's BIS. I don't know. You look at it. I completely forgot he said it. But yeah, we're so proud to have Sueyo on board. And obviously going further forward, we have a little bit of a break here with Christmas and everything like that. But we'll be back strong, and we've got Radical and an F1600 starting again in the new year at Donington. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, certainly. I know we're going to be hosting a couple of like just more fun events and just keep the drivers busy and stuff like that. But it's been an absolutely great season so far. It's good to see some new faces on board as well. Going to give another shout out as well, James Carter, where he was there. He was actually reading the Motor Racing Checklist book. He had it up on his camera. Like, I swear you must have paid him off, or Swelio did, but it was, you couldn't have asked for a better promotional opportunity there. So that was great. And obviously, you know, if you want to sponsor the season, give us a contact. Mike Broomhead is the guy to speak to. You know, he's got a headshot up there. I'm going to razz it for being slightly blurry, but that's probably a good thing for Mike. So
it's the best shot of me I have. Like it's blurry for a reason, just so you don't see all the details. But it's BiS FF20. BiS Formula 420 is the discount code there. So if you head on over to motorracingchecklist.com, you'll be able to get that discount code. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Thanks so much for you guys, and obviously thanks to everybody today for mostly clean racing. I don't know how it looked in the further back, but it was tight, it was twisty, it was bumpy. It was a lot of fun.
Honestly, I was saying about it earlier, Mike, the racing, I didn't see anybody I didn't see a single incident today where somebody went and made a move. I'm like, wow, that was a send you shouldn't have done. And that is the best thing I find about this series is, you know, it's respectful, it's clean racing. But we're going to start to wrap it up, so I'm going to boot you out of the booth, and I'm going to get back to razzing you later. Evan, do you want to keep going there, sir?
Yeah, might as well wrap it up. But appreciate everybody giving us some time here post-race to chat. And what that does do is, well, it wraps up the 2023 part of this BiS F1600 Championship Series calendar. But there is plenty more to come because Zippy, on the backside of the holiday break, we're headed back over the pond and headed to Donington Park National. It is going to be a beautiful venue for what'll be the third points race of the season, and what'll be the first of 5 race weekends between January and March before we crown a champion here in the F1600s.
Definitely, I'm looking forward to Donington, and I know some people will go, oh, he sounds English, but not everybody seems to get that. I've been called Scottish, Irish, Australian, South African, you name it, I've been called it. And I'm actually from the UK, I'm here in Canada now, but I was fortunate enough to get to go to Donington in person, and I'm greatly looking forward to this. I may have had a little bit of a hand in some of the tracks that were chosen, certainly for the radicals I did. The F1600s was more Mike's doing, but we're going to really get to appreciate as well not the curvature, the elevation change as well. But we'll get more into that when we actually get there.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one, and I will lean on you to help me with the corner names because I'll be a fish out of water. But it's going to be a fun one there, and we hope you enjoyed tuning in with us here tonight on the streets of Chicago. But until next time, that is it for us here on Podium. On behalf of our entire team and for your broadcast team tonight, for our producer DJ Lyon, for Daniel Salmon, and myself, Evan Pasoko, I want to thank you all for tuning in, and congratulations go to your feature race winners tonight, to Zach Buchanan and to Mike Adorn. We'll see you on the backside of the holiday break when we say let's go racing on January the 10th at Donington. That race and every race of the BiS F1600 Championship Series can be found exclusively live on Podium. Till next time, good night.